Hi, I'm Charlotte Hayes. I thought I had it all. Love, family, a home, until the day my husband left me for a rich woman. But little did he know, I wasn't as powerless as he thought. I discovered something that changed everything, an inheritance I never knew about. Suddenly, it wasn't just about revenge, it was about reclaiming my life and my power. Want to know how it all unfolded? Stay tuned and let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt betrayed and found your strength in the most unexpected way? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, not in my wildest dreams. I thought I had everything, love, a family, a home, until that night. The night I walked into our kitchen, found his letter, and realized he'd left me for her. I can still remember the exact moment. The smell of freshly brewed coffee still lingered in the air, the soft hum of the refrigerator in the corner almost comforting, but none of it mattered now. The letter, his words, had shattered the calm. The glossy paper, slightly creased, sat on the counter like an unforgiving reminder of what I'd lost. I never thought I would see the day when Preston would leave me, let alone like this, without a word, without a conversation. Just a note, tossed carelessly on the counter like a discarded receipt. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred, the tears refusing to fall, as if my body knew something I couldn't accept yet. The silence of the kitchen, once the heart of our home, was deafening now. The tick-tock of the old clock on the wall echoed in my ears, each second dragging on longer than the last. The house, our house, felt foreign. A place that had once been filled with the promise of a future together, now just an empty shell of memories and broken dreams. I'm Charlotte Hayes, 38, an ordinary woman who had spent years believing in the simple, beautiful things, family, love, commitment. I believed that once you found it, once you held it close, it would stay forever. That's what love was supposed to be, wasn't it? But here I was, holding this letter in my hands, knowing I had been living a lie. Preston, my husband, had walked out. Not even a goodbye, not even a look back. Just a letter and a message that would haunt me forever. His words danced in front of my eyes. I'm leaving, Charlotte. I found someone else, someone who makes me feel alive again. I hope you understand. I could hardly comprehend it. Someone else, another woman. She was everything I wasn't, young, beautiful, and rich. The woman he'd chosen was nothing like me. I could picture her, perfect, polished, and completely unaware of the wreckage she had left behind in my life. The more I tried to understand, the more my head spun. I let the letter fall onto the kitchen counter, my hands trembling. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, the sharp, cold pang of betrayal gnawing at me. How could he do this to me? How could he leave me like I was nothing? I closed my eyes, trying to breathe, trying to make sense of it, but it felt like the ground beneath me had been ripped away. My phone buzzed on the counter. I didn't need to look to know it was her, Lexi, my cousin, my best friend. We'd been through everything together, shared every moment of joy and pain, and now she was the one who was about to shatter me even more. I answered the phone without looking at the screen. Lexi, I choked out, my voice hoarse. I don't know what to do. Her voice was careful, measured. Charlotte, have you heard from Preston? I almost laughed, though it came out more like a sob. Oh, I've heard from him all right, I said bitterly, my words sharp with anger. He left me a letter, a damn letter, Lexi. He's gone. He's with her. I could hear her gasp, a brief pause before she responded, her tone filled with guilt. I'm sorry, Charlotte. I should have told you. I knew. I saw them together last week. My heart dropped. You knew? You knew, and you didn't tell me? The words felt like fire in my throat, burning with the realization that everyone I trusted, everyone I loved, had been hiding something from me. For a whole week, you knew, and you didn't say anything? I was going to tell you, Lexi said quickly, but I didn't want to hear it. My anger burned hotter, the betrayal slicing deeper. I couldn't believe it. My own cousin, my best friend, had kept this from me. "Get out," I said, the words slipping from my lips before I could stop them. My voice was eerily calm, and yet I felt like I had screamed them from the depths of my soul. "Just get out, Lexi." There was silence on the other end, then a soft, almost hesitant, "Charlotte, I said get out," I screamed, shocking both of us with the force of the words. The pain, the anger, the confusion, it all came crashing down at once. The line went silent. When the call ended, I stared at the phone in my hand, the weight of everything settling heavily on my chest. What was I supposed to do now? Where did I go from here? It felt like my whole life had just unraveled, and I was standing at the edge of a cliff, not knowing whether to jump or turn away. I wandered through the house like a ghost, touching things that once held meaning. Photos of Preston and me, smiling back at me from every wall, frozen in time. How had I not seen it? How had I missed everything that was happening right in front of me? I grabbed the nearest frame, a picture from our vacation to Hawaii 2 years ago, and hurled it across the room. The glass shattered against the wall, and for a moment the sound was the only thing that felt real. My phone buzzed again, pulling me from my thoughts. I glanced at the screen and saw his name, Graham. An old friend, one who'd always been there for me, even after all these years. I picked up the phone before I could second-guess myself. "Charlotte, I think I can help. We need to meet," Graham's voice said through the line, a calm reassurance in his words. I stared at the wall, taking a deep breath, my mind racing. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to this than just a divorce. Maybe there was something else I didn't know, something that could change everything. Graham is the only person who believes in me. I've never felt this alone, but at the same time, I've never felt this powerful. I'm going to uncover something, and I don't know how, but I feel it. Something in the pit of my stomach tells me that the truth is out there, waiting for me. His office feels like a refuge from the storm. It's calm, almost comforting, despite the chaos raging in my mind. The walls are lined with bookshelves, old leather-bound volumes that carry a sense of history. The warm scent of freshly brewed coffee fills the air, mingling with the faint smell of old wood and paper, like something from a time before all of this mess began. Graham's office has always been like this, quiet, stable, a place where nothing feels rushed, where problems can be unraveled slowly, carefully. But today, nothing feels slow. Everything feels like it's moving too fast. Graham leans back in his chair, his fingers tapping lightly on the edge of his desk. His eyes are steady, as if he's been waiting for this moment for a long time. He hasn't said anything yet, but the look on his face is enough. I sit across from him, my hands folded tightly in my lap, the weight of everything pressing down on me. "You know, Charlotte," he says, his voice calm but with an undercurrent of urgency, "there's something else you need to know. Something that could change everything." My heart skips a beat. I'm not sure if I'm ready to hear whatever he has to say, but I nod, giving him permission to continue. Graham takes a deep breath. "Before your Aunt Eleanor passed away, she wrote you a letter. It wasn't just a farewell note like you might think. It was a clue. A key to something much bigger than you realize." My mind races. I think of Eleanor, the aunt who was always so composed, so meticulous. She never liked surprises, never allowed herself to be vulnerable. She always had an air of mystery about her, like she knew things that others didn't. And now, after everything, I feel that mystery pulling me in. "What do you mean, a clue?" I ask, my voice quiet. "What could she have left me that could help me now?" Graham looks at me with a glint of something almost like hope in his eyes. "She knew what was coming, Charlotte. She knew that one day you'd be in a position like this, and she wanted to make sure you had the means to fight back. You have shares in Rothwell Holdings, significant shares. They're yours, legally." I blink, trying to process the information. What do you mean, significant shares? My mind is racing. Shares? I'm not even sure what that means right now. You heard me, he continues, his voice firm. Preston's been hiding them from you, manipulating the entire system to make sure you never had a chance to take control. But these shares are yours. They were meant for you all along. Eleanor made sure of that. I can't breathe. I feel like the floor beneath me is suddenly too soft, like I might collapse. I've spent my entire life thinking I had no power, no control over my future. I've been trapped in a marriage where I was nothing more than a shadow. But this is different. This is real power, the kind that changes everything. I can feel it in my bones. Graham hands me a manila folder, the edges worn from years of storage. I open it slowly, my fingers trembling. Inside, I find the paperwork. Proof of my shares, proof that my aunt had set this all in motion long before Preston's betrayal. These papers are more than just financial documents. They're the key to everything. My hands shake as I hold them, and for the first time in days, I feel something other than numbness. It's anger, but it's more than that. It's strength. It's power. The power to reclaim what's mine. This changes everything, I say, barely able to speak. How could he do this to me? Preston knew what he was doing, Graham says, his voice low. He's been covering his tracks, hiding these shares from you. But now that you know, it's time to take action. I take a deep breath, my mind swirling with possibilities. I think about Preston, the man I thought I knew, the man who I once loved. I thought he had walked away for someone better, someone more exciting. But now I realize that it wasn't about love. It was about control. It was about power. And Preston had underestimated me. He thought he could just walk away, that I would just let him take everything from me without a fight. Well, Preston is about to find out what happens when you push someone too far, I say, my voice steady. The realization is starting to sink in. This is no longer just about divorce. It's about something much bigger. It's about reclaiming my life, reclaiming my future. Graham watches me, a quiet approval in his eyes. What are you going to do? I look at the papers in my hands, a slow smile forming on my lips. I'm going to make sure Preston and Isabel know exactly who they're messing with. But first, I need to get more information. I need to see everything. I need to go to the storage unit. Graham nods. I'll help you with whatever you need. You're not alone in this. As I stand up, ready to leave, I can't stop thinking about Isabel. How much of this is really about love, and how much of it is about money and power? I'm beginning to realize that this whole mess wasn't just a love affair gone wrong. It was a calculated move. And now, it's my turn to play the game. I walk out of Graham's office, the papers in my hand, a plan forming in my mind. I won't let Preston control me any longer. It's my turn now. At the gala, everything changed. The whispers, the stares. People in Boston know power when they see it, but they don't know who I am. Not yet. The Crystal Hotel is everything it's meant to be. Glamorous, intimidating, full of people who would walk over you if it meant securing the next big deal. The grand ballroom is filled with opulence. Crystal chandeliers cast a soft glow over the sea of expensive gowns and tailored suits. The air smells like wealth, like polished shoes and perfectly coiffed hair, with a faint hint of champagne and perfume. People laugh too loudly, talk too fast, trying to prove they belong. It's a game of power, one I've never been invited to play, until tonight. I walk through the doors, my heels clicking sharply against the marble floors. The familiar faces don't recognize me, not yet, but they will. They'll see the new me, the one who's not afraid to take what's hers. I stand a little taller, even though the weight of the evening's expectations threatens to swallow me whole. I glance around the room. Preston stands across the room, surrounded by a group of men in suits, laughing and shaking hands. Isabel is at his side, her long, perfect hair cascading down her shoulders like some sort of goddess. They're a picture of everything I'm not. Young, radiant, perfect. My stomach tightens as I watch them, but I force myself to stand tall. Then I see him. Howard Fitzpatrick, the CEO of Rothwell Holdings. He's the one who could change everything for me. If I can get his attention, if I can make him see that I'm the one who should be in charge, then I'll have everything. The moment our eyes meet, I know this is the beginning of something. But first, I need to handle the other two. Isabel notices me before I can make my move. Her eyes narrow and she smirks. She leans in close to Preston, whispering something in his ear, making sure I see it. The way she looks at me, it's not just disdain. It's something else, something colder. She sneers at me from across the room, a deliberate and condescending gesture. "Isn't it cute?" she says, loud enough for me to hear, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Trying to play in the big leagues. You'll never be enough for him." I feel the sting of her words, but I don't let it show. I keep my face impassive, the mask of composure I've spent weeks perfecting in place. It's hard, though. My heart pounds in my chest. This woman, this stranger, had stolen everything from me. My husband, my dignity, my life as I knew it. And yet here she is, standing tall and thinking she's won. But something feels different this time. It's not just about Preston. It's not even about Isabel. It's about power. And I'm done waiting for it to be handed to me. I've already taken the first step. The next step? It's inevitable. I step closer to them, my heels clicking on the floor with every step. My body feels tense, but I force myself to move with purpose. Preston looks at me, but he doesn't meet my eyes. He knows what he's done, and he's too afraid to face it. Isabel's eyes narrow as she watches me approach, and I know she's ready for me to cower, but I don't. I stop a few feet away from them, standing straight, meeting Isabel's gaze head on. She opens her mouth to say something, probably another insult, but I cut her off. "You're right about one thing, Isabel," I say, my voice steady and calm, despite the storm raging inside me. "I may not be enough for Preston, but Rothwell Holdings? That's still mine." The words hang in the air, heavy and final. I can see the shock in Isabel's eyes, the way her lips part slightly, as if she's trying to process what I've just said. For the first time since I've walked in, I feel powerful. I feel like I've finally taken control. The look on Isabel's face is priceless, her confident smirk faltering, replaced by the first crack of doubt. For a brief moment, she's thrown off balance. I can almost see the gears turning in her head as she tries to figure out whether I'm bluffing or not. But I don't care. I don't need her to believe me. I don't need anyone to believe me. I'm going to show them. Preston, meanwhile, can't even meet my gaze. He looks down, shifting uncomfortably in his spot, unwilling to say anything. The man I once called my husband, the man I thought I knew, stands before me like a shell of the person I once admired. He's afraid. He's afraid of what I've become. I hold Isabel's gaze just a moment longer, my heart pounding in my chest. She opens her mouth to say something, but I don't wait for her to finish. I turn on my heel, my back straight, and walk away. I can hear her voice behind me, but I don't look back. I've said my piece. I move through the crowd toward Howard Fitzpatrick, making my way across the ballroom with purpose. I know he's watching me now. I can feel his eyes on me. The rest of the room may be oblivious, but Howard, he knows power when he sees it. He knows what it looks like when a woman takes control. I can feel the weight of the night shift. The air feels charged, like something is on the verge of happening. For the first time in a long time, I'm not the one who's been left behind. I'm the one who's in control. And this time, nothing will stop me. It's not just about winning anymore. It's about making sure Preston knows he can't erase me. I'm going to fight him in court, and I will win. The courthouse looms before me, cold and imposing, like a giant waiting to pass judgment. Its stone walls, gray and unyielding, seem to hold the weight of every case that's ever been tried here. The air is thick with tension as we step into the building, each of us carrying the weight of our own stakes in this battle. For some, This is just another day at work. But for me, this is it. The moment that will change everything. The courtroom is filled with the kind of quiet that makes my skin crawl. The sound of the judge's gavel ringing through the room seems to echo in my head as I take my seat. Preston's lawyers sit on the opposite side, their expressions unreadable, but I know they're as nervous as I am. They've underestimated me, thinking I would just roll over and accept the betrayal. But they don't know who I am anymore. Not since I found the letter, not since I found the power I never knew I had. Preston's presence in the room feels like a weight pressing down on my chest. He's sitting there, his face hard, but I can see the cracks. The man I married is gone, replaced by someone who only cares about his own survival. The man I once loved is a stranger now, and as I look at him, something in me hardens. This is no longer about him or Isabel. This is about me, and it's about time I take control of my own future. The judge calls the court to order, his voice booming in the otherwise silent room. My heart races in my chest as I glance at Graham. He's sitting next to me, calm, collected, ready. I trust him more than anyone right now. He's the one who's been guiding me, fighting for me in a way I never could have fought for myself before. And today, we're going to win. But Preston isn't making it easy. His lawyer stands, and the words that come out of his mouth are just as cold and calculated as I expected. We are here today because the inheritance Charlotte Hayes claims to have received is nothing more than a gift, one that should never have been given to her, the lawyer says, his voice cutting through the room. The funds and assets she's attempting to claim were never meant for her. It was a private transaction, and we will prove that this was nothing more than an act of charity on her aunt's part. The words hit like a punch to the gut. He's trying to invalidate everything, the shares, the legal documents, everything Eleanor had left for me. The audacity of it all takes me by surprise for just a second, but I don't let it show. This is exactly what I expected. Preston always thought he could bend the rules, manipulate the system, and make people believe whatever he wanted them to. But I have something he doesn't. Truth on my side. Graham stands, his voice firm and clear as he presents the evidence. Your Honor, the inheritance in question is not a gift. It was a legal transfer of assets, confirmed by documents signed by the late Eleanor Clark. These documents, which we have already submitted, clearly demonstrate that Charlotte Hayes is the rightful heir. He pauses, allowing the weight of the words to settle into the room. In addition, we have discovered evidence that Preston Hayes has been involved in fraudulent financial activities. He has used his position to hide assets and manipulate his business dealings in ways that could easily be considered illegal. The room grows heavy with silence. I can feel the eyes of the courtroom on me as Graham lays out the truth. The proof is undeniable, and I know it's only a matter of time before Preston is forced to face the consequences of his actions. But Preston's lawyer isn't going down without a fight. He stands, challenging the evidence, trying to discredit it with every word. This is all circumstantial. There is no proof of fraudulent activity. These are just accusations. The tension in the air crackles as Graham responds, his voice cutting through the lawyer's objections. The documents we've provided speak for themselves, and we have more. The financial records that have been concealed will be made public, and we will prove that Preston Hayes has been hiding assets from his wife and the company he controls. As the arguments continue, I feel the anger rise inside me, but I keep my composure. I watch Preston as his lawyer fights for him, but there's no escape. I can see the cracks in his confidence. For the first time in years, I see the fear in his eyes. He thought he could take everything from me, our life, our love, and my future. But he's about to realize that he underestimated me. And that's a mistake he won't get to walk away from. The judge calls for a recess. I sit back in my chair, my mind racing. I look over at Graham, and I can tell he's confident. We've done everything right. We have the evidence, and we have the truth. Preston may have thought he could bury me with lies, but I've brought the light. As I look at Preston across the room, I know it's over. His empire is crumbling. He thought he could control everything, but he doesn't have control anymore. Not over me, not over what's mine. The courtroom buzzes with low conversation as we break for recess. I stand and walk out of the room with Graham, my pulse steady, my mind clear. I know this is only the beginning, but it's the beginning of the end for Preston. And just as I'm about to step outside, my phone rings. I glance at the screen. It's Howard Fitzpatrick, CEO of Rothwell Holdings. I answer, my heart skipping a beat as I hear his voice. "Charlotte," he says, his tone businesslike but warm. "I've been following the events of today, and I think you've shown a lot of strength. I'd like to offer you a seat on the board of Rothwell Holdings." For a moment, I can't speak. The words feel like a dream, but I know they're real. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for, the one that will give me the power to take control of everything I've lost, and more. The battle isn't over yet. Isabel is still out there, and I know she won't back down easily, but now I'm ready. I've made my move, and the next step is inevitable. I always thought I was powerless, but now, with Preston's empire crumbling around him, I finally understand what it means to own my future. I stand at the window of my new office at Rothwell Holdings, gazing out at the sprawling city below. The view of Boston is breathtaking, the skyline stretching far beyond what I could have imagined just a few months ago. I used to be a part of that world, yes, but always standing on the sidelines, watching Preston control everything. Now, it feels like the city belongs to me. I'm not just a bystander anymore. I'm in control. The office itself is a symbol of everything I've fought for. A high-rise, sleek and modern, with glass walls that offer a clear view of the city. But more than that, it's my battleground for redemption. This place once housed corporate greed, the manipulation, and the lies that Preston built his empire on. Now it's where I will reshape everything. I can feel the weight of it all, the responsibility, the power, the expectations. But there's a clarity in my mind that I never had before. For the first time, I'm not just going through the motions. I'm the one making the decisions. I pick up the framed photo of my Aunt Eleanor, the woman who believed in me when no one else did, the woman who made this moment possible. Her legacy is alive in me now, and as I look at the photo, I can feel her presence guiding me. "Charlotte," Graham says, his voice pulling me from my thoughts. He's standing by the door, his expression a mix of pride and concern. "You ready?" I nod, a slow smile forming on my lips. I'm ready. The call from Howard Fitzpatrick had come like a dream. Rothwell Holdings, the company Preston had poured his life into, was now offering me a chance to lead. But it wasn't just a gift. No, I had to prove myself. They wanted to see if I could lead the company in a new direction, one away from Preston's corrupt legacy and towards something better. And I would do just that. Not for them. For me. For Eleanor. Walking down the hallway to the boardroom, I can feel every step echoing in my mind. Each one is a step closer to taking control, but I know that not everyone in that room will welcome me. Some of them still carry Preston's influence, still believe that his way was the only way. Isabel will be there too, lurking in the shadows, desperate to claw her way back to the power she once had. When I enter the boardroom, all eyes turn to me. The members of the board are seated around a massive table, their faces a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Howard Fitzpatrick sits at the head of the table, his expression unreadable. The weight of the moment presses down on me, but I stand taller than I ever have. I am not the woman who walked in here months ago, weak and unsure. I am the woman who has earned this, and I will not let anyone take it from me. "Charlotte," Howard begins, his voice calm but authoritative. "We've seen the evidence. We know your capabilities. But leading this company is a huge responsibility. Are you ready for it? I meet his gaze, my own resolve hardening. I am ready, I say, my voice steady, but this isn't just about running a company. It's about saving it. It's about transforming it into something that doesn't just survive, but thrives. I glance around the room at the board members. Some look skeptical, some look intrigued, but none of them look like they truly believe in me yet. And that's fine. I'm not here for their approval. I'm here to prove them wrong. I'm not here to play by Preston's rules anymore, I continue, my voice gaining strength. He ran this company into the ground with his lies and manipulation. I will not only save this company, I'll transform it. And you'll see, I'll do it better than Preston ever could. The silence in the room is deafening. For a moment, I think I've pushed too far, that I've overstepped. But then I see it. Just the slightest shift in the faces of the board members, a flicker of doubt, of realization. They're starting to understand. They're starting to see that I'm not just another woman looking to take over. I'm the one who can make Rothwell Holdings thrive again. Graham, standing off to the side, gives me a small nod. It's a silent acknowledgement of everything we've worked for, everything we've fought through. The vote comes shortly after, and it's clear. My words have had an impact. One by one, the board members raise their hands, voting in my favor. The weight of it all settles on me like a heavy cloak, but this time, it's a cloak of power. I can feel it surging through my veins as I take my seat at the head of the table. "Congratulations, Charlotte," Howard says, his voice warmer now. "You've earned it." For the first time in years, I feel truly in control, not just of the company, but of my own destiny. I take a deep breath, looking around at the faces of the board members. They may have doubted me before, but now they will follow my lead. I sit back in my chair, the weight of the decision settling in. This is just the beginning. The next step is mine to take, and I will take it with everything I've got. "This is only the beginning," I tell Graham, looking at the framed photo of my aunt, Eleanor. I can feel her presence guiding me. She's the one who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and now I'm going to make sure her legacy lives on. But as I turn to leave the boardroom, something gnaws at me. I know Isabel won't give up easily. She's going to fight to regain control, and I can feel it in my bones. Her revenge is coming, and I'm ready. I finally built something that's mine, something bigger than any betrayal, any hurt. But it's the people I help along the way that make it truly meaningful. The room hums with energy, the walls lined with photos of women who've taken the first step toward rebuilding their lives. It's no longer just a foundation, it's a sanctuary. My sanctuary. This office, this place, it's everything I've fought for. It's more than just business or money. It's about creating something meaningful, something that will outlive any of the bitterness I've experienced. It's the promise of hope, of new beginnings, for women like me. Women who've been crushed under the weight of betrayal, who've lost themselves to the lies of others, but here they can rebuild. Today is the day I've been working toward, the first major event for my foundation. I'm nervous, but I'm also proud. This room is filled with women who've found strength in their adversity, women who've shared their stories of survival, of finding themselves after losing everything. They've found courage through the foundation, through the very thing that has helped me rediscover who I am. Graham is beside me, his presence a silent reminder of everything I've overcome. He's been my constant support, and today he's watching me step into this new world of purpose, not revenge. The walls of this foundation are more than just barriers. They represent everything I've been able to create. The future isn't something I need to fear anymore. It's mine to build. The room fills with voices, but one woman's words stop me in my tracks. "You taught me what it means to stand up for myself," she says, her voice thick with emotion. "When I thought I had nothing left, I saw your story. I saw your strength, and I knew I could find mine again." Her words hit harder than any legal victory, any moment of triumph. This is it. This is why I did this. Not just for me, but for every woman who's been left behind, abandoned, or destroyed by the ones who should have loved them. In this moment, I see it clearly. This foundation is my true legacy. It's more than money, more than any power struggle or corporate boardroom. It's about lifting others, helping them find their way back from the darkness that tried to swallow them whole. It's about showing them they're not alone. After the event, as the last of the guests leave, I retreat to my office. I sit at my desk, the weight of everything I've done settling into my bones. The victory isn't in the money I've earned, the business I've built, or even the final blow to Preston. It's in these moments of quiet reflection, where I realize that all the pain, all the loss, led me to this place of healing, not just for me, but for so many others. This isn't about vengeance anymore. It never really was. It's about healing. It's about taking back the parts of myself that I thought were lost forever and sharing that strength with others. That's the real victory. I pull out my phone, and after a moment of hesitation, I type out a message to Isabel. She's been a shadow in my life for too long, and it's time to close that door once and for all. What happens to you now is no longer my concern. I've learned to let go. I take a deep breath as I send the message. I've finally released the past. There's nothing left for me in that world of revenge and bitterness. It's time to move on. Time to embrace the future. I set the phone down and stand up, looking out of the window at the city below. There's a calm that washes over me, a peace I haven't known in years. I'm not who I was before. I'm not the woman who let herself be walked all over. I'm stronger now. I'm a woman who has learned to rise. But just as I'm about to lock the office door for the night, my phone buzzes again. I glance at the screen and freeze. It's Preston. I hesitate for a moment, unsure of what he wants this time. The anger I felt toward him seems so distant now, but that doesn't mean I'm ready to open that door again. I answer the phone, my fingers trembling slightly. "Charlotte, I made a mistake. I want to fix things," Preston says, his voice strained, almost pleading. I close my eyes, taking a steadying breath. Part of me wants to listen, to hear him out, to entertain the thought that maybe, just maybe, he's realized what he lost. But then I remember how he treated me, how he turned his back on everything we built together. The answer comes to me immediately. "I'm done fixing things for you, Preston," I say, my voice steady and final. "My life is mine now." I hang up without waiting for a reply. For the first time, I don't feel an ounce of regret. This is my life, and I've learned the hard way that it's up to me to decide who gets to be a part of it. As I walk out of the office, I know that my future is in my hands. The past is finally where it belongs, behind me. Sometimes life doesn't give you a second chance, and maybe that's the point. You have to make your own future no matter the cost. The grand opening of the new Rothwell Holdings location is more than just an event for the company. It's a testament to everything I've fought for. The sleek, modern building gleams under the bright Boston sun, a symbol of new beginnings. But as I stand at the podium, looking out over the crowd, it feels like it's about so much more than real estate. It's about creating opportunities, giving women the chance to succeed, to rise above the betrayals of their past and build something meaningful. It's about proving that, even when life knocks you down, you have the power to rebuild. The air is thick with anticipation. The elite of Boston, the city's power brokers and influencers, are gathered in the sleek new building. But amidst them, I see the women who have made this moment possible, the women who've found a new start through the foundation. They're here, standing tall, their faces full of hope and pride. They are my victory, as much as any business deal or financial success could be. I take a deep breath, the weight of everything I've accomplished pressing down on me, but this time it feels good. For once, it's not about the scars of the past, it's about the future, my future. I look down at my notes, but I don't need them. I've made it this far. I don't need to be afraid anymore. "Ladies and gentlemen," I say, my voice carrying through the microphone, calm but strong. Today is not just about opening a new location for Rothwell Holdings. It's about something much more powerful than that. It's about giving people, particularly women, a chance to succeed. It's about breaking down barriers and ensuring that no one has to face the same struggles that so many have before. The room is silent, all eyes on me, and I feel the weight of their expectations. But I'm not afraid anymore. I fought too hard to let fear dictate my choices. This is my moment, and I'm taking it. But just as I'm about to continue, the air shifts. The crowd parts, and I see him, Preston, standing there, as if he still has the right to be a part of this moment, as if he still has any claim to me, to my life, or to what I've built. A hush falls over the room as he makes his way toward me, his face etched with regret. His presence is like a shadow that I can't seem to shake, and for a moment, I feel that familiar pang of old hurt. But it's fleeting. I've come too far to let him drag me back into that darkness. He stops in front of me, and I can see the apology written on his face, but I'm not moved. His words will mean nothing now, not after everything. "Charlotte," he begins, his voice low, hesitant. I was wrong. I made a huge mistake. Please, let me fix this. Let's go back to how things were before. I miss you." The crowd is still, waiting, watching, but all I feel is a quiet strength rising inside me. I've already made my choice. I've already walked away from him once, and this time, I won't go back. Not for him. Not for anyone. I look at him, my heart steady. "You left me once, Preston," I say, my voice steady, unwavering. This time, I'm walking away for good. There's a brief silence before a ripple of murmurs sweeps through the crowd, but I don't look away. I stand firm, holding my ground. This is my victory, not just over Preston, but over everything that has tried to hold me back. This is the moment I've been fighting for. Preston's face falls, his shoulders slumping as the weight of my words hits him. He opens his mouth to say something else, but the words die in his throat. He knows. He knows it's over. And with that, I turn away. I don't need to hear anything else. My decision is made, and I won't let anyone undo what I've built. The applause begins, slow at first, hesitant, but then it grows. The sound fills the room, and I feel the warmth of it settle deep inside me. It's not for him. It's for me. It's for the woman I've become. As I make my way off the stage, Graham is waiting for me, his eyes shining with pride. "You did it, Charlotte," he says quietly. "You've taken back everything you lost." I nod, the weight of everything we've been through finally lifting. But even as the applause fades, there's something inside me that feels different. Something that I can't quite place. It's not just the end of the battle, it's the beginning of something new. As I walk through the crowd, the women from my foundation are there, waiting for me. I see the pride in their eyes, the way they look at me as if I'm the one who gave them strength. And maybe I did, but they've given me more. They've given me purpose. "This is only the beginning," I whisper to myself, the words filling me with a quiet sense of peace. I've learned that the greatest revenge isn't about getting even, it's about living well. It's about proving to everyone who ever doubted you that you can rise higher than they ever thought possible. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I don't look back. As I reflect on the journey I've shared with you, I realize it's not just my story. It's the story of anyone who has ever felt overlooked, betrayed, or powerless. Sometimes, life throws us curveballs we can't expect or control, but that doesn't mean we have to let those moments define us. Instead, we can choose to rise, to rebuild, and to take back what's ours, whether it's our self-worth, our dreams, or our futures. I've learned that the real victory isn't just about overcoming the people who hurt us. It's about understanding our own strength and using it to create something better for ourselves and the people around us. every challenge, every betrayal, every failure, it all becomes a lesson, an opportunity to rebuild something stronger. I didn't win because of luck. I won because I made a choice to keep going, to rise above, and to trust myself again. So, if you're going through something difficult right now, or if you feel like the world is against you, know that you have the power to change your story. Your past doesn't have to define your future. The choices you make today can lead you to the life you deserve tomorrow. And I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you thought everything was lost, but then found the strength to rebuild? How did you overcome your challenges? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story, and together we can inspire each other. If this video touched your heart and you think it might resonate with someone else, please hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts. And hey, if you didn't like the video, let me know what you didn't enjoy and where you're watching from. I'm here to listen and learn from all of you. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Let's continue to grow, inspire, and support each other. See you in the next video.